Fuck. How's it going, everyone? My name is Colin Winters. I'm the host of Panthers Place, and I'm fucking dead inside. So, week one is past. As you can see, I'm not in my studio right now. I am currently in my car in the middle of driving home from my military drills. I was not able to watch the game completely, but I did sneak my phone in a little bit. I was able to watch a good bit of it. Unfortunately, I watched the beginning of it and saw the first play of the season that we had on offense, and immediately wanted to die. I've had about 30 minutes to think to myself since the game has ended, and I've just been sitting here in a Sheetz parking lot the entire time, pretty much staring forward out of my window, scaring passerby, because I'm just so fucking dumbfounded about how we could look this bad opening up. Okay, yes, we get it. You took your muffler out. Yeah, very big penis. Bye-bye now. And I'm just... The disappointment comes from the fact that we, as a fan base, didn't have that much hope to begin with, but we were just starting to buy into the hype because we felt good about the new, young, offensive-minded head coach we had. We saw that Bryce was making great strides in camp, and then he had that one great drive with Buffalo in the preseason, and just, it went all to shit. And I've had my time to be mad, and I thought I was going to be a little bit more calm to this, but guess what? I'm still fucking pissed off because of the fact that there is no reason we should be dealing with this as a fan base. We've had enough time to make a rebuild work. And Dan Morgan keeps saying we're retooling. No, it's a fucking rebuild now because we have no idea what the fuck we're doing. This entire game, we looked like we were making Derek Carr the next coming of Tom fucking Brady. We had fucking Taysom Hill looking like he was prime Marshawn Lynch, and we could not get any pressure on two struggling young tackles on the Saints. Fuaga being a rookie and Penning, of course, having a very slow start to his career, these two are struggling right now to adjust to the game speed of the NFL, and yet we have a veteran edge and then, of course, a rotational guy. We had Iku get in there for an actual sack. That was good and all, but overall, there was no pressure on Carr. We did not do anything to make him uncomfortable. He was able to do whatever he wanted back there. We even had J.C. Horn get burned by Shaheed on a deep ball, which was the first play, not the first play, but the first TD for the Saints this game. Now, I'm not actually too worried about the Horn thing because even, the best CBs in the NFL get burnt every now and then. I'm pretty sure Jair Alexander has been burnt by Jalen Reagor, I think it was, maybe Chase Claypool. Obviously, the person didn't do much in NFL because I'm forgetting their fucking name, but they burnt Jair for a good gain, so it happens to the best of them. But it's just that at every point in this game, it felt like it was something or just some sort of lack of preparation or the fact that we just didn't have the manpower to deal with it. Real quick, I'll go over two positives that I didn't know, actually three positives. One is that the pass blocking is better, and that will segue into a bad thing later, but overall, the pass blocking is better. It doesn't pick up the blitz very well, but general, pass blocking on a standard D-line, on O-line play, much better. We also saw that Xavier Legette also played pretty good game, not flashy, great for, what you expect from first-round pick, but do remember, he was the end of the first round, really could have been just, the first pick of the second round, but we decided to go up and get a guy for a fifth-year option, so do take that with a grain of salt. He did play good. He did, seem like he could be the best weapon on this team. And then defensively, Mike Jackson actually played a pretty good game. He had a really good breakup in the end zone. He played a good game. And now for the bad, and trust me, there's a lot of bad. Just, oh my God. So, Bryce Young, I'm just going to say it. I can't keep defending him like I have been anymore. You do not have the excuse that you're a rookie anymore. It is still just week one. So I'm not going to talk about anything like, oh, we need to have the conversation of, if he's the guy. No, it's week one. He had a really bad start to the season already, but we still should give him some time to get into the role of this offense as we go into regular season NFL speed and how that plays. But he still had a bad game, and there is no way to go around that. He is a huge reason as to why we lost, because he could not make the throws that needed to be made, and he made turnovers that were absolutely awful. Turnovers, of course, being like the first pass he had this season. His first pass of this new NFL season was a turnover. Threw it right over Adam Thielen's head into the arms of a safety. Absolutely terrible fucking decision. Terrible throw by Bryce. There is no way to excuse that. The turnovers on this game were his fault. Overall, Bryce Young looked like he was fucking scared today, and I don't know what we could have done to make that better. Yeah, he was getting hit on sacks when they were blitzing us, but overall, he had good protection. So there's not really even he was jittery because there were people all around him. It seemed like he just hadn't gotten over the fear of getting hit from last season yet. even though he has the offensive line around him now to give him more time. And when he had the time to make throws, he missed a lot. It felt like he was looking for the windows he had in college, which just are not going to appear in the NFL. So every now and then we had a receiver who was open enough where another QB probably would have been able to make that throw, but Bryce just either decided to not make the throw or overthrew it way too much, expecting their wide receiver to have to make a play that they just were not in a position to make. And as I said, even though it is very concerning to see this, I'm not really going to go on to the, pitchforks and torches type thing until about week 4. If week 4 continues on like this, and we see that Bryce Young has not only stayed the same, but actually feels like he's regressed from his rookie season, then we have to start having a conversation of, should we be looking at the next QB for Carolina coming this season? And I'll be the first to say, I don't feel like we should be having that conversation. I'm a firm believer that it takes about 2 to 3 years to accurately judge a player based on his play in the NFL and give him enough time to actually make his breakout work. But I also understand that the NFL, no matter whether I like it or not, is a very fast-paced business now. You have to put results up on the field sooner rather than later. And if the front office thinks that Bryce Young isn't going to be that guy, they need to start planning now rather than later. So around week 4, if you think that it is not going to happen with Young, you got to start planning in between games what you're going to do if he really just stinks that bad. I still believe in him, and I still want to support him. I will support him as my QB1, because not supporting your quarterback just because he's not your favorite guy is fucking insane. Rooting for your own QB to fail is just fucking bizarre behavior and does not make sense. All right, I've talked a lot. I'm still very much heated. I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to go back home, and I'll see you guys when I get back into my office, because if I don't calm down, I'm going to start saying some things about players that I don't really mean. So I'll see you guys back at the studio. Okay, yeah, this feels more normal. All right, so I'm back home, and after having a existential crisis in the car, I am more prepared to talk about the Panthers in a calmer mood. So as I started driving, I decided to put on the press conference for Dave Canales, the post-game thing, and something that he said did concern me because it reminded me completely of Matt Rule. He said that he always said this was going to be a long journey. And my problem with that not only is the remembrance of Matt Rule and him talking about fucking, the whole it took 7 years type thing for fucking, what was it, J. Cole, Jay-Z, one of those two, but that, God, I sounded so fucking white there. But it was the fact that he said it took 7 years, and he was implying that it was going to take 7 years for the Panthers to get going. And now here you have Dave Canales now saying it's going to be a long journey, that they knew it was going to be a long journey to get to where they want to be and to get to the team that they know they can be. And that's concerning because Panthers fans are generally done fucking waiting. It has been 2017 was the last time we had a winning season, and there should be no reason we should have to be waiting much longer. When Tepper got into ownership of this organization, he said that he was, Panthers fans would be done with mediocrity. Well, to his credit, we have been less than mediocre the entire time he has been having control over us. But back to Canales' comment, I'm only concerned because of the fact that we've been told by like Dan Morgan or Canales, talking about how optimistic he is himself, that this shouldn't be a rebuilding year. This should be a retooling year, which, judging by this first game, no, the fuck it is not. I saw some tweets from other Panthers fans saying that maybe the reason we didn't play much in the preseason was because we were trying to hide how little this team actually has cohesion and how much we did really strip the defense and how much Young still has to learn how to process at NFL speeds. The only reason Panthers fans had any sort of hope is because we thought the front office finally gelled together. We thought we finally had a cohesion between GM and head coach and quarterback, something that we haven't had in a long time now because we've always been firing head coaches but keeping GMs, or, moving on from both and not really getting guys who agreed with each other, or we had the fact that we got a quarterback that our head coach didn't want and he refused to be able to plan ahead for him, Frank Reich. We thought we had a more cohesive staff, and now we're seeing that we may have just gotten over our heads again. Even with my prediction video for the Panthers, I was very optimistic. I put their highest, I think, at 8 and 9, and obviously that's not going to happen. I have no confidence that we could ever reach that. And thankfully, I didn't say that's what I thought we could be, and I still think we won't be the worst team in the league, but it's very possible. I do believe Canales has a longer leash than, both Rule and Reich did, and that is only because of the fact that the coaching carousel that we have going on is just not healthy. There's no reason for us to keep hop swapping coaches because that's just going to do terrible things for any sort of player's development, not just the quarterbacks. So while he does have a longer leash, I don't want to see him use that leash just for constant experiments and constant, just seeing what works type of years. I want to see something on the field and a good product that we as fans can enjoy. And I mentioned, before that Bryce Young had a real bad game. That was his fault today. He did not execute. It was the offense running poorly was central to his poor play because I want people to understand I support Bryce Young. I am fully invested into him. But I have never been someone who said I wanted Bryce Young from the start. So you don't have to look at me and think that I've been a truther the entire time or wanted him from the draft. My draft analysis videos from, a year back now was really, I don't care who the Panthers pick because I think they're all good prospects and I would be happy to have any of them as my QB and I'll support anyone who we pick. And I'm supporting the one who we picked. Even though it seems right now that we picked the wrong guy out of the top three, I'm still going to have faith. I want him to be able to grow into the quarterback I believe he can be. Whether or not that happens, though, is now in serious question because we didn't see any sort of improvement from his play from his rookie year. In fact, we saw regression. And if this continues up into week 4 and into the middle of the season, you have to have a conversation now with your team as a front office. Are you going to start looking for the future in case he really won't pan out? In my opinion, the best option for that is not to look for a QB in this upcoming draft because, one, that'd be stupid. This upcoming draft's QB class isn't really all that great. And then after that, you may be able to get a guy in free agency. But being someone who does believe in Bryce Young, I believe he's going to be able to get a year 3. I believe he will get better as this season goes on. I feel like this was, for some reason, just a lot of the jitters coming back, high pressure to be able to make that leap because be in his shoes for a second. Half the fan base that you have fucking hates you. They already don't believe that you can make it as an NFL QB. You are trying to make sure that you can prove that you can be a breakout star. You are now in a new offensive system. You only had one drive to play in the preseason. You're jittery. You're scared. And that's what he looked like on the field. He looked like he was scared. He looked like he thought he was going to get hit every other play because that happened last year. But even as he had protection, he was missing throws. So I think the biggest thing Bryce needs to do is calm down. He has elite processing ability. We saw it in college. He just needs to understand that he just needs to speed it up just a tad bit because now his offensive line is going to give him that time to actually analyze the field, and he has to make the throw we know we can make. He was able to put it in tight windows last year. He needs to be able to do it now. A lot of the things I said previously may have been overreactions to the fact that we lost so hard in week 1. But the thing is, it is just week 1. There is a lot of football to be played left. There is no reason to believe that it has to be all doom and gloom now. I feel like seeing how our defense was absolutely gutted and could not stop the Saints offense for shit, we should immediately throw any ideas that we could even be a wild card team this year. But there is a good chance we can see steady and fast improvement that we can be hopeful for, that we can compete next year. The defense is a huge issue. We always talked about this throughout the offseason, wondering how bad did we really gut the defense? Can Evero really make it work without all his star guys around him? Losing Burns, losing Luvu, all that sort of stuff, losing Von Bell because we just decided to let him go for some reason, had no idea why we just walked away from him. But we didn't have any of those guys anymore. We did have some guys step up today, Mike Jackson, Nick Scott, they had pretty good games all around, but we still don't have the star power we used to. Having J.C. Horn be injury prone, you're always going to be worried about his availability. Of course, he also got beat today. Already talked about how that's not really much of a concern. Any guy can get you one time. And then after that, you just have to worry about, do we have enough pass rush? Because the 2 tackles I mentioned earlier, not that good. Couldn't get any pressure on Derek Carr. We had no run defense as well. And run defense has been something we've sucked at for so many years now, despite having Derek Brown in the center of our defensive line. So I just don't understand why we aren't able to get anything done on defense when we have an elite defensive coordinator, elite defensive tackle, or right end as he's designated as. But we should be doing better. Bottom line, we should be doing better, and there is no reason why the Saints should have put up almost 50 points on us. And credit where credit is due, the Saints, I mean, you played much better than I thought you ever could. I still think you're going to be a bad team this year, but you've obviously put yourselves in favorite to be third in NFC South, which, as it stands, pretty good for what the NFC South is. I mean, even the Falcons lost today because, fuck it, why not? I feel like my prediction videos are going to age like milk. But overall, even though my hope for the season was admittedly kind of shattered, I am still hopeful for improvement. I feel like we have seen the worst of this team in a super slow start, and I do hope that we start seeing some more emotion in press conferences, seeing some more genuine answers instead of the standard PR stuff of like, just couldn't make it happen, gotta execute better. We understand that. We know you have to execute better. You just went fucking 10-47 on the fucking Saints. You have no shit, you have to execute better. But some real honesty from the Panther side of things would be very nice, because at this point, if you are just going to put that product out in the field, say what it is, a rebuilding year. Overall, just be honest. If it's a rebuilding year, just say it. Say it's a fucking rebuilding year. Because we're tired of the whole like, oh, we can do it this year, and then you put out a product like this. Say what it is. It's a rebuilding year. We're going to suck. Just make sure we don't suck as bad as we did last year. That's all I fucking ask. I'd be happy with fucking 4 wins. I don't care. Just do something for the love of God. Anyway, that's all I have for this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you guys with my pain next time. Goodbye.